Good morning, Year 5. Welcome to week 3, Wednesday's shared reading lesson. I hope you're all doing well. Okay, so I'm going to start by sharing my screen. Okay. So as always, we're going to be looking and starting with the success criteria and the learning intention. So we are learning to understand a text more deeply by making inferences and identifying evidence from the text to support these inferences. This is the bulk of what we're going to be doing today. So an inference, as we unpacked on Monday, is a statement or a judgment or a thought or an idea that is not directly stated in the text. So a good reader makes inferences by using the clues from the text to say what the author hasn't said. We're going to be doing that today. So I'm going to take you through a process where I'm going to be reading the text, making some inferences, and showing you how I got those inferences from the evidence. I'm then going to record it in a table down here. Here's my inference, and there's the evidence from the text. So that is the actual word. So when I'm asking for evidence from the text, I don't want you to put it in your own words. I want you to use the words from the text to tell me how you made your inference. So this is the task that you will be doing today as well, following on from my shared reading lesson. Okay, so to be successful, we've read and understood the text. Yesterday, we looked at identifying the purpose of the text. And so now we know this is really important, because if we know the purpose, we know why it was written, we can then know how we're supposed to feel about it and what we can do with that text. So we know that this text is to inform us about the tundra. So then I can learn things from it. So I can use this text to give me information. I wouldn't use a persuasive text necessarily to write an information report or to use information, because that's not the purpose of the text. That text would actually try and sway me one way or another, whereas I need facts. I need specific details and facts about my area with no opinion in it. Okay, so let's move to our text, which is our tundra biome text. So now, this time when I'm reading, I'm actually looking to read deeply, trying to use what the text says to make inferences about what it doesn't say, about what the tundra is. This hopefully will become a bit more clear as I go through it with you. So it says the tundra biome is the coldest of all biomes. It is also quite big. The tundra covers about 1/5 of the land on Earth. There's not too much to infer in those sentences because it says all it really needs to. The word tundra comes from a Finnish word that means treeless plain, which is a good description of the biome. Okay, so if I use those words, that it comes from a Finnish word that means treeless plain, so I know that treeless means that there's not too many trees on the plain, and a plain is like a very flat, open surface. And it says that this is a good description of the biome. So I can actually infer that from there, that this biome, my inference is that the tundra biome doesn't have many trees, and it is a flat plain, or its surface is a flat plain, maybe, and its surface is a flat plane. See how I'm editing my writing as I go too? That's just making sure it makes sense. The tundra biome doesn't have many trees and its surface is a flat plane. Now, my evidence, the text didn't actually say that. It said something like it. It said that tundra comes from a Finnish word that means treeless plain, which is a good description of the biome. I'm actually just going to copy. And this is what you can do too. Copy and paste that section because it says that it means treeless plain, which is a good description of the biome. That means that it's describing the biome as a treeless plain. That's my evidence. I'm going to copy that and I'm going to put it straight in there, and I might even put the word. Oh, it's got some formatting issues with it. So I'm just going to line and spacing. I'm going to remove the space before the paragraph, and then I'm going to change the font. So when I'm doing this, I can't, when I'm writing my own information report, I need to be changing the words because otherwise I'd be breaching copyright laws. But because I'm not using their work and calling it my own, I'm actually saying that this is from the text. It's okay to copy and paste it into there because I'm using the author's words for this. Okay, back to my text. The tundra biome is located in the Arctic Circle, which is a circle that surrounds the North Pole. But this is not the only place we can find freezing cold temperatures and a few animals. In Antarctica and other cold environments, there are areas that can be described as part of a tundra biome as well. Now I can make an inference from this. Because it says that in Antarctica, there are areas that can be described. It's not saying the whole thing is a tundra biome. It's saying that there are only areas of Antarctica that is a tundra biome. My inference is that Antarctica as a whole is not a tundra biome. Only parts of it are described as, or maybe I'm going to say only parts of it can be described as the tundra. So this is my thinking. From that text, I can see that Antarctica as a whole is not a tundra biome. Only parts of it can be described as a tundra. My evidence for that says in Antarctica and other cold environments, there are areas that can be described as part of the tundra biome as well. So that tells me that not all of Antarctica, it's only parts of Antarctica are in it. So this is my evidence. Okay. And then just to make it look all the same, we change it there. So now my next inference is that Antarctica as a whole is not a tundra biome. Only parts of it can be described as the tundra. In Antarctica and other cold environments, there are areas that can be described as part of the tundra biome as well. Now, I wanted to double check that that information was accurate because I don't want to make this inference if it's not the case. If all of Antarctica is a tundra biome, then I don't want to say that it's not a tundra biome. So what I need to do is I need to actually prove it with another source. So earlier I went down and I went to find another source, and I thought I'm going to actually look at a map, because a biome map will actually tell me what I'm looking at. So this is one I got from Google, and the site is here as well. And if I look at this map, the blue is tundra. So my blue is all up here in the Arctic Circle, around here. If I go down and look at Antarctica, funny, it's true. It's not considered the tundra biome. It's actually ice. It's a plain of ice. So I'm not going to get into why that is. Maybe that it's just too cold for anything to survive. So only parts of it have enough heat or warmth to be called a tundra. I'm not too sure. That's not the purpose of today's lesson. But what I can confirm is that this text is and the inference that I made is probably factual, because this is not considered tundra as a whole. It's ice, the white ice. Okay. Says weather. The tundra is the coldest and driest of all the biomes on Earth. There is very little rainfall in the tundra. It rains less than 10 inches a year. Now, I'm going to make an inference about some of these numbers and measurements that I see. So I can see 10 inches. So this is my evidence. So I'm going to write evidence for the moment, and I'm going to then look to see if I can find any other measurements or things that I'm not quite familiar with. So I can skim and scan, and I've got here in the winter, the temperature can reach minus 50 degrees F. And we worked out the other day that F means Fahrenheit. Because this one I know, this one is minus 45.5 degrees Celsius. That C is Celsius. That's the measurement I know. This is one that I've kind of heard before, but I've heard it before in American movies. That might actually give me a clue for something. So this is evidence as well. I've got 50 degrees Fahrenheit again. This again is evidence. And I'm sure I'm going to find more if I keep going down. Or yes, 150 pounds, 20 miles. There's quite a few measurements in a different type. And now I know from my own background knowledge as well that miles, pounds, and inches are American, and Fahrenheit are American measurements. So this is evidence. I might actually make this a bit more specific. Evidence of American measurements. This tells me something about who it was written for or who it was written by. So evidence of American measurements. So the American measurement system. So now that I'm thinking, if the author has written this in American numbers and measurements first, and then put in the other system, the like Australian system that we use, I can infer that this text is American. So this text was written by an American, for probably to begin with an American audience, but we know that the internet is global, so anyone can read it as well, and that's why it's got both measurements in it, so it can appeal to the American audience and the rest of the world that uses degrees Celsius. so we can relate. So my inference is that this text was written by an American, or I could say, or I could say this text, or this is American. That's my inference. And my inference is the evidence that I found is it contains American measurements. And I think it's called the imperial system. I just want to double check that I'm right. So imperial units is the British. Includes inch, foot, yard, pounds. So yes, it's part of the imperial system, whereas we use the metric system, which is the other side, which is the measurements in brackets. And it contains American measurements. And then I can actually put a few in there as my evidence. So I could write minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'll put EG, which means, for example, 50 degrees. Oh, I don't know how to write. I'm not too sure how to write the degrees symbol. It would take me a while to find it in here. So I'm just going to write degrees, and then I'm going to write now I'm going to write 50 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm going to use the different one as well. So it had Fahrenheit, and 10 inches. So that is another inference. I might make one more inference with this. So I hope you're kind of getting some things. So inferences are what the author doesn't say, and it uses clues in the text to point us in that direction. Okay, we did make an inference as I was reading this the other day. So it says, because the tundra is so close to the North Pole, summer days are 24 hours long. So this is saying, so another way of saying this is, if summer days are 24 hours long, we know that a day and a night is 24 hours. So in the summer in the tundra, there is no nighttime. There can't be nighttime. If our day and night together is 24 hours, and it's 12 hours of day, 12 hours of night, if your summer days are 24 hours long, means that there's no nighttime. So, and we said that summers are short. So sometimes they only last for 6 to 10 weeks. So I can infer that during the tundra, during the summer in the tundra, no, during the tundra summers, so during the tundra summers, there is no nighttime. That would really throw a person if there is no darkness. So there is no nighttime, and I'm going to write in brackets, there is no darkness. And this is my evidence. I'm actually going to write a comment here. This is my evidence for my inference that there is no nighttime or darkness during the summer in the tundra. Just a different way of saying the exact same thing. And I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to paste it there. So here I've made some inferences. So they're my thoughts that the author didn't actually say. And I've actually backed it up with the evidence for why I've gotten that, where I've gotten it from. So my inference is the tundra biome doesn't have many trees and its surface is a flat plain. And the evidence I use from that is that the word tundra comes from a Finnish word that means treeless plain, which is a good description of the biome. So today's lesson, your independent task for today is actually going to be exactly this. I would like you to go through your text and look for inferences and then find the evidence. You can copy and paste the evidence directly from the text like I did. You don't need to make it up. You don't need to reword it because I'm not saying that this is my writing. I'm saying that this is the text, the author's writing from the text. My writing is my inference, and that you need to make up, that you need to write down what you're thinking. Okay, have a go, and also watch out for my feedback for this as well. All right, see you later, Year 5. Thank you.